So I'm sure we still have more questions around franchising, but we have our friends here for the rest of the day, so do catch up with them over a coffee or a general chit-chat to understand a little more. But yes, I'm sure there are more models that we can scratch our head around. Looking at more opportunities for smart proteins in the food service industry, let me invite Nicole Rock, the Senior Innovation Specialist at Good Food India, and we look forward to hearing her views. Welcome, Nicole.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Mini and FFCC for having us. We're thrilled to share our work with you all. So I'm going to get started. So for those of you who are not yet familiar with our organization, the Good Food Institute India is part of a network of non-profit agencies. We have offices in 6 different locations globally, and our work is focused on diversifying our existing protein supply system for a more just, sustainable, and accessible source of protein. We work across science and technology. We have a team of scientists that's working to open source the foundational science behind these food products. We have a corporate engagement team that works with some of the largest food manufacturers, meat manufacturers, retailers, restaurants in the world to showcase the opportunity provided by smart proteins. We have an innovation team that I'm a part of that works with entrepreneurs, works with investors that are currently engaged in the alternative protein sector. And then finally, we have a policy team that works closely with government departments to secure investment into this sector, as well as with the food regulator to ensure that there's a regulatory path to market for these products. So what are smart proteins? Essentially, what these products are is they're focused on providing people with the meat, eggs, and dairy that they love, but produced in a way that's significantly better for human as well as planetary health. These products are formulated to replicate both the cultural as well as the sensory experience for consumers and are intended to be used as a drop-in replacement for food service partners like yourselves, for restaurants, for food manufacturers that are looking to create a pipeline of alternative products for their consumers that are delicious, affordable, and accessible. Broadly, the smart protein sector is segmented into 3 types based on cost and infrastructure required to produce them. So you have plant-based products, which you all might be very familiar with. Essentially, what these products are is they're looking to biomimic meat, eggs, or dairy using crop ingredients. You have cultivated meat that is essentially producing meat outside of the animal, so it's a 100% genuine animal meat product. And then you have fermentation, which has emerged more recently as an enabling technology to improve the functionality as well as the taste of these food products. While we're currently referring to them as 3 separate product categories, what we're seeing globally is that these 3 categories are sort of coalescing into one large industry that are providing alternatives to animal-derived products. An existing example of this is the Impossible Burger in the US, which is 98% plant-based, and then has a 2% inclusion of a fermentation-derived ingredient that gives its burgers that bloody, irony taste that makes it similar to the beef burgers that you're probably used to consuming. So in terms of what the opportunity for these food products are, these products are squarely focused on the omnivore and flexitarian consumer. So these products are not intended for a vegetarian and vegan market who may or may not be looking for or looking to consume products that look and taste like chicken or beef, which also means that this provides a much larger market opportunity. While the previous slide broadly talks about how consumption looks globally, India presents a really unique demographic for these products. Firstly, we are the largest population in the world, most recently beating out China. Secondly, contrary to popular belief, Most Indians, or 75% of Indians, consider themselves to be flexitarian and consume meat and eggs, not as much as they probably consume vegetarian products, but they are looking to consume more of these products and include more of these products into their diet. And finally, whether you're vegetarian, whether you're non-vegetarian, you're definitely not consuming enough protein that you ought to be consuming. And so the playing field is really open for consumers and for manufacturers and food service partners to really choose what their target audience are when they're looking to use these products as part of their menus. We often get asked how relevant these products are for the Indian ecosystem. And like other new food categories, we believe smart proteins will follow a similar path to growth. Take the example of pizzas and burgers that were introduced into QSR chains right after the advent of liberalization in the 90s. Fast forward to 2023 now, where we just heard a panel of QSR entrepreneurs focused entirely on these categories, bringing homegrown localization to these food products that have been familiar to us more recently. So similar to these early adopters of these food products in the 90s, the early adopter for the smart protein category is young. They have a higher median income. They're educated. They want to consume like their Western counterparts. We use proxies like they probably have a Spotify Premium membership or have probably watched the Game Changers documentary on Netflix. They're urban and they're regular consumers of meat. Based on consumer surveys that we have done along with Ipsos, they also have a higher intent to purchase plant-based meats over conventional meat and are more likely to eat these products outside of their home as well, where the experience of these products are curated for them. Apart from these reasons for consumption, product-related barriers such as hygiene of meat procured, the ease of cooking are also driving consumption for these products at home. And beyond this, there's an increasing consciousness that we're seeing for sustainability-driven products. We're seeing a greater understanding from the consumer on the impact of the foods that they're eating on the planet, especially the younger millennial Gen Z consumer. And then beyond that, there's also an opportunity to make inroads with consumers that are choosing to consume less meat for ethical and animal cruelty reasons. Of the early adopters that we surveyed, 30% of the consumers were already familiar with plant-based meat, and 50% of consumers were already familiar with plant-based dairy. With similar statistics in other regions, food service players play a key role in actually driving accessibility, points of trial, as well as familiarity within these newer food categories. Even though the category is nascent, trials are building and repeat purchase intent is high as well, with 72% of households willing to purchase plant-based meat again in the future after trying it once, and 80% of consumers willing to purchase plant-based dairy. Over the last 2 years, the market across India, across the meat, eggs, and dairy categories have grown significantly. They're now available widely in retail, e-commerce channels, as well as in food service. And we're seeing companies innovate rapidly, and this is really driving broad consumer awareness as well as adoption, as we'll see shortly. We're seeing products being launched in multiple categories, so moving beyond your burger, sausage products that we've seen in the West, moving into categories that make more sense for an Indian consumer. So whether it's a kebab format, whether it's a biryani format, whether it's a dahi or a paneer format for dairy, we're seeing a lot of innovation coming out of these companies, looking to tap into both the regional as well as traditional cuisines offered by the Indian subcontinent. We're also seeing category awareness and distribution on the rise, whether it's Virat and Anushka or Shah Rukh Khan, whether it's Samantha Prabhu most recently, or Veer Das. We're seeing a lot of these celebrities and a lot of these brand ambassadors jump in on the plant-based alternative bandwagon, to say the least. In terms of how this is relevant for you as a food service player, as a restaurant owner, as a franchisee owner, we believe that even among the non-vegetarian consumers in India, there are some who eat meat on some days, some who eat meat, eggs on other days. And so we believe that plant-based meat and eggs and dairy provides you with an opportunity to provide your same consumers with an alternative on days that they might not choose to eat meat or might not choose to eat eggs for various social or religious reasons. Apart from that, we also believe plant-based meat offers an opportunity to build standardized quality, safety, convenience, no hassle of cleaning, faster prep, no fluctuation in pricing. And then finally, there's potential for longer storage as well, especially if you're looking at a QSR restaurant or if you're looking at a smaller restaurant for whom these metrics matter a lot more. The food service market in the West was actually the first group or cohort of retailers and cohort of food service providers that initially trialed these products and were able to provide these products at a price point that was affordable for the mass market consumer. And so we're excited about the potential for doing exactly this in the Indian market. While we have been talking a lot about the global QSRs, Starbucks recently launched a complete vegan menu with Imagine Meats as well, offering products right from a vegan plant-based croissant to various plant-based meat patties that consumers could go in and access at a price point that they would otherwise access other products from Starbucks as well. So in India, while this category is new, there have been menu launches over the last couple of years across about 500 standalone restaurants and hotels in the top 8 cities. Plant-based options have been trialed in various formats across Indian and international cuisine. So whether it's the humble momo or like a plant-based raclette cheese, we're seeing the category really provide unparalleled choice to restaurant as well as hotel operators. And finally, adding such options to your menu ensures that your establishment is on top of the latest trends, of course, but also ensures an option for every consumer type that might be interested in trying your food products. So how can you incorporate this into your menu? So we've seen a couple of different paths that restaurants and brands have gone down. So one is offering plant-based meat as a substitute for your traditional meat in any of your dishes. So this could be replacing a chicken burger with a plant-based chicken burger, which is what we saw when Burger Grill launched its green meat pounder with Greenest. It can be creating an entirely new dish that incorporates plant-based meat. So last year, Haldiram's launched a line of plant-based meat products. They launched a plant-based keema pao as well as a plant-based samosa to their regular customer base, creating an entirely new category for their consumers. You can also promote plant-based options on your existing menu. If you've been on Swiggy recently and you tried ordering a coffee on Blue Tokai, I'm sure you would have seen options for plant-based dairy. And then finally, you could also collaborate directly with plant-based meat companies, as startups like Evolved have done with Shangri-La, where they created an entire high tea menu using their plant-based meat options. So in terms of how we can help you, first and foremost, we provide strategic and advisory support. We do a lot of our own consumer and market insights that we'd be very interested in sharing with you. And lastly, since we work across the value chain, we'd be happy to conduct matchmaking activities to facilitate the most useful partnerships with you. If you're interested in the category, Evolved is currently displaying their products in the conference venue, so I'd encourage you to go try them out, have a conversation with them, and yeah, get involved in the all-protein movement. Thank you.